In a meeting room in Redondo Beach, California, Roger Cale greets some of the most important people in his life. This is a family support group, sponsored by the Leukemia Society of America, designed to meet the needs of people with leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and multiple myeloma.
And everybody loves each other in this group, so, I mean, we put up with each other, and we cry together and hold hands and call each other all the time, make sure that everybody's okay, and because there are good days and bad, and sometimes it's good to hear a friend's voice, especially somebody who knows what you're going through.
Just 1 week ago, Roger lay in a hospital room near death.
I started dehydrating, and I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, obviously we're not fixing it at home, so I'm going to put you in a hospital. So they did, and started giving me IVs and stuff like that, and drugs, and I just kind of went out of it. And for about 9 days, I don't remember too much.
Well, I had spoken with my doctor privately after one of the hospital visits and said to him that I was really concerned because Roger had taken a turn for the worse, and that was the only time in the number of years we've been going to this doctor where he acknowledged that he was concerned as well. And basically, I referred to it as he gave me the "we don't all live forever" speech on the telephone. And so I became more or less useless at that point in terms of crying quite a bit. And it was very difficult for me. In fact, I could not stop crying the entire time for 2 days in the hospital room.
As relatives gathered to await the end, Roger began to fight for his life.
One day I woke up and said, I got to get the hell out of here. This, I'm going to die if I stay in here. So I started kicking myself and trying to get better. So I'm out.
A week later, Roger and Donna are sharing the lessons they learned with their friends in the family support group.
Even though I have taken the time, and I think you need to take the time to educate yourself about your own disease, because you never really feel that you can get enough information about it. So you do spend a lot of time at the library and in this group where you exchange information. I really felt helpless because things were...
Why is the family support group such a vital part of Roger and Donna's lives?
Well, because I think one of the really terrible things that happens to a person when they're diagnosed with cancer is that they feel very alone, that they feel that they're probably the only person out there that has this kind of problem. There's also a tremendous fear of the unknown. And I think that if a person is able to talk to someone who has the disease, who is familiar with some of this, I mean, it's a whole new glossary that you have to learn. All of a sudden people are talking chemo, radiation, Zofran, interferon. I mean, it's a whole new world that they have to learn. And if they can sit down, like with anything, on a one-to-one or in a small group basis and talk about it, it starts to take away some of the fear.
Richard David is learning to confront his fear. Without a bone marrow transplant, Richard may die, but the procedure also holds risks for Richard and for the bone marrow donor, his brother Michael.
I have had a series of heart attacks. In '89, I had a major blowout, what they call it, or a major cardiac arrest. I was on a life support for 14 days, in the hospital for 28. And I've got a pretty bad picture.
Doctors told Michael he could not donate bone marrow because of his past history of heart problems. 4 hours later, Michael left Michigan to join his brother in California. He was determined to go through with the procedure.
And he went over to the doctor and he said, put me on machines, I'm going to show you that I can do it. I am better than I look on paper. And that's exactly what they found out.
I have another brother, which is a truck driver, and I called him, and he had me on the way out here in just a matter of hours. It was New Year's Eve, matter of fact. And met Dr. Smith, She told me right up front that I couldn't do it. She didn't think I could do it. I told her up front that I thought I could and was going to do it. And put me through all the tests, and here I am. We're going to do it.
Despite this strong support from his family, Richard still agonized over his decision, but he found a place to work through his fears at the family support group. In a group meeting, Dan Martin tells Richard why he decided against having a bone marrow transplant several years ago.
Well, additionally, at my age, an unrelated bone marrow transplant, my analytical self tells me that that the survival, the long-term survival rate in that area is, at my age, unrelated. It's about 1 in 5. Certainly better when the donor is related. At the time, I had a senior in high school, no, a junior in high school, who was really starting to do some things that I wanted to observe. I had a freshman in college who was on an athletic scholarship, and I really wanted to see him play. And I knew that I was not willing to take those kinds of risks. So that was really the crux of it at that point in time. I was coming upon what appeared to me to be a very, very important time in my life that I didn't want to miss.
Other support group members have different perspectives. Harvey Ehrlich underwent a bone marrow transplant 2 years ago.
It is a scary thing to go through, but when you go in with the right attitude and you go in with the vision that you're going to win, it can be done. And I'm just 2 years old, folks. I mean,
Has the support group helped Richard with his own decision?
It was a tremendous part of my decision-making process. I got almost all of my information here to go back and talk to my doctors about. And I met people who had had transplants. I have friends who encourage, Donna and Roger, who you've met. We talk on the phone once a week at least. And Dan and his wife, Corey, we get together, and there's a group of us who have CML, 3 of us people, one woman and Roger and myself. The 3 couples get together, my significant other and the husbands and wives get and go out to dinner. And they've become very important people, and it's changed my relationships. If relationships aren't quality, and if I'm not getting my needs met, then I have to make some changes and some choices. And I've learned to do that coming here to group.
Family support groups, sponsored by the Leukemia Society of America, are making a difference in the lives of people all over the country. The need for new groups is overwhelming.
I think that there is definitely a great need, and I base that upon what people say when they come to the group. Gee, we didn't know there was such a thing. We've been looking for something like this for so long. Or we have people that drive an hour and a half that come to our group because they need something like this. And when they come, they're so gratified to find a place where they can talk about what they need to talk about, where everybody's interested in talking about this terrible disease.
The Leukemia Society of America recruits group facilitators from among healthcare professionals who have a passion for life.
It's not a difficult job, and it doesn't require a lot besides the time commitment. Doesn't require a lot of work outside the actual meeting, but you do need to be able to listen to people, especially listen to things that may be uncomfortable to you or to other members, and to be compassionate and to allow each person to be in whatever place they are in their process, with their disease. And I think that most healthcare people, most healthcare professionals are already those kinds of people to begin with.
I think over the last 2 or 3 years there's been a very definite change in the medical community. They've always recognized that they don't have the time or the energy frequently to do psychosocial support for people who come to their offices. It can belong to someone else. I think they like to see that all-around care for their patients, and I think a lot of very good doctors recognize that they simply don't have the time and energy to provide all that patient can be getting, And if they know that the person can go to a group where the medical beliefs are upheld, and where that's the first line of defense is good professional medical treatment, and they can still get the psychosocial support from other patients, I think most doctors really look forward to being able to refer patients to that kind of care.
Coming to the support group meetings in November of 1990, at the same time I had begun my current treatment, alpha interferon. And to me, it's like a home away from home.
I look at life a lot differently, in fact, I used to hate to work. I love working now, completely, So I just feel very fortunate that I have a job to go to and that I'm alive to go to it.
And coming here and talking to people, and not just here in my church, my friends, I've been able to look at it a day at a time, a procedure at a time. I think I talked about that in the group. And it's true. I mean, it's true. And I do see myself as a well person, but a very much changed person.
Family support groups meet in cities all around the United States every month, with new groups forming to meet the needs of people with leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and multiple myeloma. Join a family support group sponsored by the Leukemia Society of America and discover a family of friends.